Hello students, my name is Mr. Harshal Nezkar and we are studying the subject of basic human rights. This is lecture number 18 and in the last lecture we have studied the communalism that is present in our Indian society, and in last lecture we have particularly studied the evolution and spreading of that particular communalism from the history of or the modern history of India. And after that, we have studied or we have seen the past incidents that have taken place in our country of the communal conflicts. And today, we'll study the uh, actions taken by the Indian government or the state governments, and then we will study the challenges in front of the government to impose some restrictions, and after that we will study the steps required to uh, control this particular communal conflicts, and that then we will conclude this particular uh, point of communal conflicts. So let's start the lecture with a point of what government has done to restrict this particular communal conflicts. So particularly there is a commission called as National Human Rights Commission in India, which fights for the causes of rights of the victims, that is the communal victims, but its recommendations are advisory in nature. They are not compulsory, but they are only advisory in nature, and it doesn't give any significant outcome. The the respective state governments or the central governments have constituted various committees along as per the incidents have happened, and the particular objective of those commissions or committees, it was to give the recommendations to solve the issue of communal violence in our Indian society. The prominent committees of among the uh, committees formed are the Sachar Committee, Nanavati Committee, or the Ranganath Mishra Commission. All right. So first we will study about the Sachar Committee. It was appointed in the year of 2005, which recommended to set up the Equal Opportunity Commission, that is EOC, in year of 2010. After the 5 years of brief study, the EOC was to set up a grievance redressal mechanism for an all individual cases of discriminations of religion, caste, gender, and physical ability among the others. So basically, the Sachar committee, it gave the recommendations like there should be a commission called as Equal Opportunity Commission should be formed in our country, and which should be responsible for the grievance redressal mechanism for all the individual cases of discrimination problems. All right. Then there was the Nanavati Commission, and it was set up by the Gujarat state government in the year of 2002 to inquire about the Gujarat communal violence. Then there was the Ranganath Mishra Commission. It was interested by the government of India, that is central government of India, to suggest practical measures for the upliftment of the socially and economically backward sections among the religious and linguistic minorities, and it is to include the modalities of implementation for the same purpose. The report of the National Commission for Religious and Linguistic Minorities, headed by the former Chief Justice of India, called as Rangnath Mishra, he says that the 10% should be reserved for Muslims and 5% for other minorities in central and state government jobs for all cadre and grades jobs. So that was the Ranganath Mishra Commission. The purpose of all above committees was to give the recommendations to find out the causes of backwardness of minorities and what kind of steps are required to improve their conditions. Though the India is under the grip of communal violence, but till now, other than provisions under the IPC, that is Indian Penal Code, or the CRPC, that is Criminal Penal Code, there is no firm law to punish the originators of such violence, and no clear policy is there for the relief and rehabilitation of the communal conflict victims. There is no regulations for the security of witness, for accountability of public servants, or etc. So basically, in our country, there is no such a law which punishes the uh, originators of the communal violence setups. All right. So there was a bill that was proposed by the Congress government in the year of 2011. That was the Prevention and Communal Targeted Violence, that had the access to justice and reparations. So the particular, it was advised by the committee that was called as the NAC, that is National Advisory Commission, the committee, and it had come out with a communal violence bill in 2011. This bill particularly provided for a 7-member national authority for communal harmony, justice, and reparations. It attempted to safeguard the minority sections. It had provisions for ensuring accountability of the district administration. It was already keen recommended by the Sachar Committee and Ranganath Mishra Commission, but it was abandoned by the Indian government in February 2014, calling this bill is an anti-communal bill. So right now we don't have any kind of law that punishes the communal violence perpetrators. All right. So then there is the role of police, that is very important in this particular communal conflicts. The role of police, it is in communal riots, is highly controversial. Generally, the riot victims, they complain that the police did not came to the rescue. The police forces were themselves instrumental in the killings. They led the mob in looting and burning, and they arrested the innocent people, and they harassed them inside the lockup. And but as we know, the police can act much better if there is a political will, and if they are given a free hand along with the implementation of recommended police reforms. There is also a specialized battalion of rapid action force that is present in our India, which is a wing of CRPF, that is Central Reserve Police Force, and it is basically created to deal with the riots and the riot like situations, crowd control, rescue and relief operations, and related to these particular issues. So these are the particular steps that has taken by the government, but they were obviously not enough to avoid a future communal violence or communal conflicts. Then now we will see about the challenges that are present in front of the Indian government, and the most important restriction in front of the Indian government nowadays is the social media and the freedom of expression. So basically, the social media has become a vital communication tool through which individuals can exercise their right of freedom of expression, and they exchange the information and ideas. In the recent years, a growing movement of people around the world it has witnessed who are advocating for change, justice, equality, accountability of the powerful, and respect for the fundamental human rights. Where, in these cases, the internet and social media has played a key role in these particular movements. However, the freedom of speech and expression should not confer on the citizens the right to speak or publish without responsibility, and the legislature may enact laws to impose the restrictions on the right to speech and expression on the several grounds. So basically, the social media, it is a very key part of our today's life, and the right to freedom of expression, it should not get confused with the right to publish anything that has come to the our notice, or the for the sharing purpose also. So basically, the freedom of expression should be used with a kind responsibility of the citizens. The fundamental rights, it is protected under the article 19, and it gives the citizens freedom of expression. But this article also empowers the government to impose the reasonable restrictions to guard the unity and integrity of the country. Further, there is also a article under fundamental duties, that is the 51A, and which provides like to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst the all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. So basically, it needs to be enforced by state by controlling the social media. In olden days, whenever any provocative print media came to cause some communal conflicts, then the government of that particular time, it invoked its powers and imposed the restrictions on that particular print media. But yet government has no strong or effective policy towards the social media that is present around right now. So that is the biggest problem that is in front of the Indian government right now, that is the social media and the freedom of expressions. Now let's see what kind of steps can be taken to control this particular thinking of communal conflicts with the help of. All right, so the solution of such problems or the communal conflicts cannot be one or two steps by the government. Apart from legislative support, administrative efficiency, and alertness with the help of modern tools and technology, the major onus lies on the citizens themselves by avoiding the communal violence. So, apart from the responsibilities of administrative officers or the legislative supports, it is the duty of every citizen to avoid this particular communal conflicts. Though it's bit philosophical in nature, as it's not a concrete solution, but it is the sustainable changes that can be brought only by the steps by the citizens of that particular community only. Each of us have to make a balance between our own religious community and the national interest. We have to unite with the concept of nationalism, and then we should move forward in the direction where our nation wants to develop. The teachings of religious community, they may be great, but the followers of the community concerned should understand the nationalism in a greater. If they do not become familiar with this fact, they will be away from the national stream, and they should be suffered. All right, so uh, the citizens, they must be unite with the concept of nationalism rather than the interest of their own religious communities. We have to be rational while making the decisions. Each and every religious community has been founded on the basis of certain values, that were the best and necessary for the circumstances of the country and particular that times. The goodness like adjustment with others or cooperation or consistency can be found in all of the religious teachings. Along with this, the leaders to all the communities or the religious communities, they must come forward for an atmosphere surcharged with the social harmony, in which the welfare of that particular religious community it also lies. The religious teachers, they should promote the rational and practical things through the religion, promoting peace and security. There is also a great need to work towards the eradicating the problem of unemployment among the youths. Then there is also a problem of illiteracy and poverty that should be eradicated from the society, and it should be done with honesty and without any discrimination between the community. This will help in solving many problems and will create the awakening. The result will be in checking on communalism to a great extent. That is why it is expected that a lot of work have to be done at government level in this direction. It will be effective only when our society and its citizens become so much capable and empowered that they can take sensible, ethical, and rational decisions. This is possible only with the help of quality education. So, quality education is also an important parameter in eradicating this particular concept of communal violence. But the quality education for such a huge population cannot be always expected from the public institutions. It is also the corporate social responsibility. It is also a responsibility of educated Indians, the NRIs, and the everyone who has roots in India to bring the changes in Indian society, so that we can live according to the thoughts of our constitution, and it would be able to promote the international peace and security also. Then there is also a part of media and movies and other cultural platforms. They can be very influential in promoting this particular peace and social harmony. Though all such practices in India are common, but there is still a very large scope for improvement in this particular direction. Thus, in order to get rid of all the problems of communalism in India, there is a need of collective efforts. All we have to do is to discharge their duties. If we do so, definitely social harmony will prevail in our society. Everybody will prosper, and this must be done. And this was the dream of Mahatma Gandhi for a free India. The government also can adopt the models followed by the countries like Malaysia, that has developed the early warning indicators to prevent the racial clashes. The Malaysian Ethnic Relations Monitoring System, which is known by the acronym of MESRA, that makes use of quality of life index, which includes the criteria such as housing, health, income, and education, and a perception index to gauge the people's needs and feelings about the race relations in their particular society. Also, there is a model of Hong Kong of combating communalism by setting up a race relation unit. It is used to promote the racial harmony and facilitate the integration of ethnic minorities, and this can be emulated by the Indian society also. Also, government can encourage and support the civil society and NGOs to run the projects that help create the communal awareness. And It can be used to build the stronger community relation and cultivating the values of communal harmony in next generation. A proactive approach by the National Foundation for Communal Harmony, that is the NFCH, that is the body responsible for promoting the social or communal harmony. It is very essential these days. The NFCH basically provides the assistance for physical and psychological rehabilitation of the child victims of communal, caste, ethnic, or terrorist violence. Besides the promoting communal or social harmony, fraternity, and national integration. So these are the steps that can be imposed to control this particular problem of communal conflicts or communal violence. All right. So let's go to the conclusion of this particular point. So no doubt the communalism today has become a serious threat to the stability and integrity of our society. Then, since then it came into existence, it had continued to destroy the country's awakening culture, tradition, and the particularly history. It is in fact a negative concept that had brought the partition of the country as it always used against the nationalism. Nowadays it is a kind of deadly weapon in the hands of politicians for mobilizing one community on the basis of religion against the another religious community for the purpose of securing the majority of vote banks in the election. The communalism is by no means a resolution to any problems because it is an ideology that always used to promote hatred and violence only. So communalism is nothing but the resolution to any problem. It also disturbs the atmosphere of the country as well as it also creates the problem at international level. Because the world is shrinking nowadays, different communities of the world they are doing migration, immigration from one country to another. In the same way, by promoting such type of ideology, it will divide the society into many communities and sections more and more. As a result, there will large communal riots or violence may happen in the future. Therefore, the maximum effort should be done to curb this menace like disease from the society. So that was the conclusion for this particular point of communal conflicts. So in this lecture we have studied the steps required to eradicate the problem of communal violence, in which we have studied the steps like we have to unite with the nationalism. Then it's basically the responsibility of the citizens of India to uh, control this particular communal violence thinking. Then we studied about the need of a quality education of our Indian society. Then we have studied the models that have been used by the very small countries compared to our India, that are the Malaysia and Hong Kong model. They have set up some model to eradicate the problem of communal conflicts in their countries. Before that, we have studied the challenge of social media and freedom of expression that is particularly used to evoke the thinking of communal conflicts between the Indian society. But we have to understand this particular fundamental right of freedom of expression. It comes with a responsibility of a citizen of India. All right, and the social media that has to be used with a responsibility also. All right, and before that we have studied the whatever the government strategies or the committees or commissions they have planned and executed after this particular communal violences. So that was not sufficient to avoid the upcoming or the future communal violence that may be taking place in our country. So right now what we need is the prevention and communal and targeted violence bill that should be passed in every state parliament. All right. So that is this for this lecture. All right. And if you have any doubt regarding the concept of communal conflicts, you can comment down below this section. And if you have any other points that should be uh, taken under this particular point of communal conflicts, you can also contact me on my phone number, or you can also that particular part in the comment section below. So we will stop here, and thank you for listening the lecture. Thank you.